welcome back to the Tea and a Butty podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
And today's episode, well, it's mostly a me episode, I think. It's reasons to move to the USA.
Are there any?
Are there any? We'll find out in this episode, won't we?
Were you able to come up with any?
I think I came up with 5.
I don't know what.
Five good ones. And, they're kind of like generally, and I mean, I'm going to be talking about my personal reasons and experiences and everything like that. So if anyone is listening that is thinking about moving to the USA, then I'm going to tell you how it is. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
No, I don't know what made us put this on the schedule.
Because I was going to reasons to move to the USA and reasons to move to the UK.
Yeah.
To Britain and America.
Mm-hmm.
To Britain and America.
But it's funny because he goes, "Oh, today's podcast is going to be reasons to move to the USA." Oh, I don't know what.
Yeah, I hadn't. I mean, as per usual, I did all the research in the last hour or so. So, you know, we're very well prepared on this podcast.
Well, I mean, we just have a chat, don't we?
We just have a chat. We're just chatting like we are now into a microphone.
And the thing is I'm not really joking. Like, it's unfortunate that I feel that way, but it's just like, what would be the reasons? What would be the benefits?
I thought about my own experiences, and I just looked up a couple of lists just to kind of like justify them and get them in order, and I've put down a few like things, and it's just like a little bit of prompts here. And
if you hear it thundering,
oh yes,
we're
quick editor's note.
We're finally getting rain.
Rain has come to Texas.
Months and months. I mean, we've had a little bit of sprinkles here and there for the last, I don't know, 6 months. Probably.
We had a deluge a couple of days back.
Yeah.
And then another one, and then now it's there's a black rain cloud.
And I know you're probably thinking, well, why not just wait until it passes? But guess what? The answer is because apparently it may be like this most of the week.
Most of the week, hopefully. Fingers crossed we'll have some rain most of the week.
It's not like, I think it is misting a little bit. It's not pouring down, so we thought maybe we can...
It's grey, which I enjoy.
Maybe we can get a chat in before it starts like really thundering. And
get this chat in so it'll go out tomorrow for you.
My mom is driving home from Dallas as we speak, and she called and said that the police actually had to turn her around.
Oh yeah,
on the highway as she was approaching an underpass for her because she was going under where it crossed.
And it was flooded, wasn't it?
Oh, she said she saw some cars that were stuck in it, and they were, they stopped other people.
They went floating away,
and she had to turn around and go the wrong direction on the road because because they were turning people around. And she was like, I don't know how many can get home, but she's fine. We've checked in on her, and she's apparently bringing the rain to Austin. So
yep, it's on its way.
But yeah, finally we're getting rain in Texas. I mean, Dominic and I went out walking the other day, and the cracks in the ground.
Yeah, drought
like
cracks.
A mile deep, yeah.
A mile deep, yeah.
We saw a bunch of...
I mean, I don't know if they were a mile deep, but...
I don't know.
It's like...
It's called artistic exaggeration. Okay?
I mean, I don't think there was and they were a mile wide, those cracks.
No, but you saw holes or something from something else, and then we saw the cracks. We're like, oh, is this the same... It was like snake holes or something.
Snake holes.
First we
saw deer tracks.
Deer tracks. That's what it was. It was little, because we have there's like a little holding pond. This is also off topic, but.
It's not. It's on topic. There's reasons to move to the USA to see deer tracks and little holding ponds.
Deer tracks and no rain. If you hate the rain, then move to Texas.
Yeah, you can move to Texas.
There's a little holding pond not far from where we live, and usually it has like this fountain in the center, for like a beautiful little focal point. But they have the fountain off, and it's just like dried up. I mean, not totally, but probably, I don't know, a few feet around the edges, just like where it would normally be water is now just muddy ground.
Yeah, it's because it's receded in. They've turned off the fountain.
Recede, that's a good word.
Receded in, and so it's like drying up. And we saw a couple of turtles. There were a couple of turtles were like swimming on the surface because it was that low, you know. Yeah. And they were just kind of like, what's happening?
But the little deer tracks down to the water because obviously they're thirsty. They've got farther to walk in to go get water, which is terrible.
And it's so hot.
But we were mistaking the deer tracks for the cracks in the ground, or the cracks in the ground for the deer tracks. And then we're like, wait a minute, that's like genuine, just like the earth is dried up and cracking beyond belief. But
yeah, no, and it's so hot, because we went out on a walk and we haven't walked this route for ages, and there was deer out in the evening, and they were eating, and they couldn't be bothered to run from us, they couldn't be bothered to like. Run away.
They're reaching up for what little bits of green are like hanging down from the trees because the grass is all completely dead. It's just brown.
Absolutely dead. Yeah.
Anyway, reasons to move to America.
There you go. There's your reasons to move right there to America. Oh, I mean, the first one I've got on this list is career. I mean, usually people who are moving here have got a job offer.
Yeah.
The company is like, okay, we've headhunted you.
Yeah.
Or they work for a company in Europe or wherever. And they're just like, okay, there's a position opening up in an office in Austin. We want you to move over there.
Yeah.
Pack your stuff and go. It's more money. Yeah. And it's like, that's, it's like, well, I've got to move. I've brought my family and everything, if you've got one, and off you go.
Yeah.
And it's quite a culture shock, even for people who, I've spoken about this in episodes before. It's quite a culture shock when you get here, because, things, I mean, it's not as much as it would be for someone who maybe didn't speak the language before, doesn't speak English or Spanish or, and so it's, moving here, it's kind of like there's that barrier to kind of like break down.
Yeah.
But then there's also, it's really getting grey here.
It's getting so dark.
It's getting so dark I can hardly see Erica now. She's just fading away. I thought I was blacking out for a minute there. And it's just, it's just like all this culture shock of just like coming to this new country, and they do things differently here. Things are said differently. Things are called different things.
Yeah.
And so, moving for a job, it's like it would be like starting a new job, and it is, even if you are, I'm from the London office, or whatever, it's still,
it's probably going to operate
quite differently,
Yeah, different vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously it's like,
and I mean, usually what it is like the sorry to cut you off there.
No.
usually what it is like they headhunt people. They, companies headhunt people, like the big corporations, like maybe Google or whatever, But it's mostly healthcare.
Oh yeah.
Healthcare and that kind of thing. They want doctors and nurses from other countries, because it's cheaper labor.
I mean, I don't really know.
I'm not sure if it's cheaper for them to get them.
I don't know what the reason for that is,
actually. Or if it's because people who are educated as doctors and nurses over here want to work overseas.
Maybe, yeah.
Or, they demand, because I was born here and raised here, I demand, like, higher salary and whatever, whereas an immigrant would be like, oh, no, I'll just take what I can get. This is a good job,
Yeah,
I'm working,
I have no idea.
I mean, I haven't done the research on it.
Yeah.
It's dark in here. I can't see a thing.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of think, well, surely there are enough people in this country who want to who want to be educated,
train
to
as a
become
nurse
a doctor
or a nurse.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only kind of like profession I can think of right now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that's a skill that I see,
Yeah.
that they've kind of headhunted from other countries, like Indian doctors or,
I mean, sometimes it might be a case of the doctor's quite well respected in their field or whatever,
Yeah.
and so America's just like, yeah, we want to have them over here, so our people can benefit, which is like, you know,
yeah. I mean, you know, because maybe there is more money over here. You know, I mean, there must be.
Yeah.
You know, for people to go, I'm gonna go work in America and get, you know, a job in America, working at, you know, wherever, you know.
Yeah.
Google, or, you know, one of the tech companies, or, you know, whatever.
There's all kinds of
you know, the American dream is what they
Yeah.
call it, you know, like, oh yes, you know, you make so much money over there and over here.
And I mean, there's a lot of corporations now, so like jobs that you wouldn't even think might have like worldwide offices do. So if you work in a
and yeah,
if you work in one of those kinds of jobs, you know, and you're the type of person who wants to travel and wants to experience new things, it's great, because you're just like, oh,
absolutely,
I'll put in for that job in Japan, you know, and we'll live in Japan for a while.
Japan,
and then, you know, after a couple years, I'll put in for the job in, you know, Alaska or wherever, you know, and it's just like, we'll have a whole new experience. And
no, it's one of those things. And the best thing about like working for a company that sends you to another branch of their office or whatever, or, you know, you get a job that hires you and just like they sort out your visa and everything for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, they sort out your work visa, you know, you just have to kind of like sign stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, to me, it's funny that you would put career opportunities on the list as a reason to move to America, because a lot of people think that the work-life balance in America is not worth living in America for.
Well, that's
you know?
that's the thing. That's the trade-off. They don't realize it till they get here.
Yeah.
It's like they may have been working in Europe and they've been getting like, you know, a month's paid holiday or whatever, you know, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, you know, we close down at 5 and we, you know, but when they get to America, it's like, have you finished that report yet? Well, you're going to have to work all through the night to get that done.
I mean, I guess
and it's like, well, no, can't we just work in it tomorrow? You know,
I guess career opportunities can also translate to, you can make more money in America.
You make more.
You make doing the same job in whatever other country, but it's because you're going to be working a lot more than you probably would in Europe, you know?
Yeah, no, it is, because I think there's like the strict laws against it in Europe.
Yeah.
And maybe the UK still, I don't know. But it's like, you know, there's mandated work breaks, there's mandated like holidays.
Yeah.
It's like you've got to take them, you know, you can't be like, they can't be working
all
the time.
Fair,
and it's just like,
they don't have America this.
Do you want to make money?
Some companies have that, you know.
And it's an ethics thing, isn't it?
It's like
really?
You have so many weeks off per year, and it's like you're required to take them. So if you don't take them by the end of the year, then guess what? We're going to send you home for the last 2 weeks of the year or whatever, you know, because it's like that's part of their policy. That does exist, depending on who you work for in America.
And it's kind of like, I understand, like, there's some Americans who are like your old boss, for instance.
Yeah.
He couldn't take time off, could he? I mean, he didn't want to take time off.
He did not want to.
Yeah.
No. Yeah,
and
he definitely could, I mean.
And it's like, I've never experienced anyone, I mean, it's not strictly work ethic or anything.
My mom never used to either. She didn't want to use up any of her days, and it's like, why? Are you saving them for something? No, but I just
because I don't want to like be idle.
Yeah.
I don't want to be without something to do.
I've got too much to do.
I've got too much to do. Yeah, and that's the thing. Oh, I've got so much to do. I
can't afford to take days off. I have too much. I'll come back and it'll just be, you know, like one of those cartoons where all the stacks of papers and books are piled up to the ceiling.
Yeah,
you know?
And it's like, it's not going to happen like that, you know, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's just kind of like, because...
Then there's also companies like the one that my brother used to work for, where one of the employees at the company took her vacation and came back, and her job had been given to someone else, and that is a true story. We will not name the company here.
Yeah,
but
no, that happens in a lot of like the industry.
They were like, "Oh yeah, we'll keep you on, but we're just gonna have so and so do
what you're doing while you're out of the office." Yeah.
No, when she came back, I guess they just did it, and then when she came back, they were like, "Oh, so and so does that job now, so you know, we'll find you something else to do." I don't know.
It's like, do you care about making money? Then don't take a holiday, you know? And it's like, fine, yeah, but I want to make money. And it's like, what's the point?
reasons to move to America.
Yeah. I want to make money, but I want to, like, also have a life.
Oh,
because
gosh.
it's like, there's very much like, I'm living to work right now, not working to live.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, a lot of Europeans, you know, who hear about that, you know, it's like, oh, come on, we got to do this. We got to be, no, we don't have time for vacations. We don't have time for flights to Europe or flights to anywhere, you know, or holidays or vacations.
It's funny.
We got to work, and work until you die.
It's funny because this has become a completely
and
different
if you die,
podcast.
We want you to report how you died.
This has become a completely different podcast than the one I think it's.
Well, we're
supposed
just
be,
banging on about a one point here, you know.
But you see that online all the time. Europeans just outraged on behalf of Americans, like, why do you do that? Oh, I can work.
And
this
there's a few Americans going, what?
Americans don't understand. They don't understand. Like, we're so. I mean, I hate to use the word brainwashed, but it's almost like a brainwashed in a way.
It's cultured to, like, you've got to make that, you've got to chase that dollar.
Yeah. That's
like, the thing, is that chase that dollar.
We can't understand, like, the idea that we should have the right to take off a certain number of weeks per year to travel or to just, you know, poot around the house or whatever we want to do. You know, we can't understand that. We don't want to do that.
It's like you don't want to do that because you've been conditioned not to do that.
Europeans
because
online,
it's a case of
they're arguing that point all the time, like, oh, we get to do this and we get to do that, and an American's argument is always, well, we get to make money. You know what I mean? It's like,
we get to make money, and it's like, well, where are you spending this money?
We don't have time. Yeah.
Oh. And then that comes to, like, I've seen it on the other things. Where are you spending that money? Yeah. You're spending it on your health insurance, aren't you? It's like to keep yourself alive so you can keep working. It's like,
oh my gosh.
And, you know, that, you know, it's not one on my list, but it was on the other list for some reason. Healthcare
is a reason to move to America.
Oh, it's some of the best healthcare in the world, and and it's like, yeah, true. You know, it's
if you've got the money to pay for it, sure.
But you know, healthcare, yeah, it's like, I've got medical bills I need to pay would be an excuse to, like, oh, why are you so focused on making money? And I've got medical bills to pay. I've got this to pay. I've got that to pay. You know,
put my kids through college,
and everything is so expensive. You know, I've got to put my kids through college. I've got to do this. I've got to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas in Europe, they're just like, you know.
Yeah.
I just make my money and I spend it on holiday, and, you know, I like my time off and I can't wait to retire. But there's a lot of like, no, when I retire, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna just die the first year or something. You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the list. And funnily enough, the second one on my list is living space.
Have we made you want to move to America yet? Yeah. By the way. Living space.
Living space, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more space, there's a lot more real estate, shall we say, in America, you know, than there is in Europe and, you know, the UK and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's a big, you know, Texas even, you know, it's like you could buy, say, like you're living in one, with, you know, with exception of, like, the bigger cities in America, like New York and LA and stuff like that, where stuff is outrageously expensive for, like, a one-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
Whereas you could be paying that same price. You could in Austin for that one-bedroom apartment. You're paying what, $2,000 a month?
Yeah.
You know. Mm-hmm. Whereas you could have, like, saved up that money, and you could be, you know, you could have bought a huge ranch somewhere in the hill country or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Theoretically, you know, for that, you know, and it's, you know, you have all the space you want, and you have, you know, everything, and you know, it's just like a huge space. Because I
don't know about the hill country, but probably in the Midwest America.
The Midwest America, yeah. I mean, a bad example there, but yeah, it's like, because you just got the space to do it in some of these places. You know, like New York, it's like everybody wants to live on this tiny island of Manhattan.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're living in a high-rise and they're paying $500 an hour to live there, you know?
An hour.
Well, it's pretty much. And the utilities on top of that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, you know, I don't know, you know, there's that kind of thing. It's like people in Texas are probably looking at people in New York who live in that kind of thing, saying, you could afford a huge place down here for the amount you've paid for that, you know?
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, I don't want to live in Texas, though.
I mean, aside from cost, right? Like take cost out of the equation even.
The cost!
Just space in general, right?
Space.
Because stuff is so crammed in Europe. I mean, there's a lot of people in Europe and in Britain and, you know, wherever have gotten, obviously they're used to like living in a row house or a terraced house, as you would say.
Yeah.
You know, living right next door to their neighbors, and like there's only a fence in between, and you share walls, and you know, you don't have any kind of space all the way around the house.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what you're doing all the time. You know, and it's like you're used to that because you've grown up that way, and that's just the way it is. And that's,
I mean, I grew up in terraced houses pretty much.
Yeah.
The only kind of like big houses I ever lived in were the hotel in Scotland that, you know, my parents owned for like a year or so.
Yeah.
And that was huge. That was great for a kid of like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Because, you know, and that island was quite remote. It was kind of like, you know, it was great for a kid to grow up, you know, with all that space.
Yeah.
And then we bought a place down in Torquay, which was like this old Victorian kind of like red sandstone or red stone or whatever. And it was quite a big house. It was like four bedrooms.
Yeah.
Then we moved back to this one that had like 3 bedrooms, and it was in a terraced house. And I was just like, I was fine with that, you know, because it was just me and my dad, and you know, but I'm one of those people who kind of like thinks, oh, I want to live in a cozy place, you know.
Yeah.
But I also like a bit of space, you know.
Yeah.
I also like a little bit of space, you know. I'd like to live in a cozy place in the middle of nowhere, you know, like a lot of acreage around me, maybe, you know.
And I think there's a lot of people who are fine living in a terraced house right, like, on top of each other, you know? That's what they're used to. It's no problem. I mean, that exists in certain places in America, like you said, New York City or Chicago or, you know, Boston or any of these, like, older cities where everybody kind of lives right next to each other, you know? But then there are certain types of people who just want space. They want the freedom to roam around. They want to be able to walk out of their house in their nightgown and, you know, and walk out to in the backyard.
They want that wraparound porch.
Water the grass, and like the neighbors are not close enough to see you. You know what I mean? Or like, you know, just whatever. I don't know. And that exists in America, and it doesn't so much in Britain or in Europe, because there's just not the space for it.
There's not the space for it.
You
I mean,
know?
unless you live in like a country estate or something, you can afford to like own a large swath of land.
Yeah.
Shall we say, you know, and you've got like a huge Downton Abbey type place where you have that space.
But you don't have to be able to afford anything necessarily in America. Like, you can get quite a lot of space depending on where you are for a reasonable amount of money, you know. You don't have to spend an astronomical amount.
I mean, I could be totally wrong here, but you could get a good sized place with a bit of acreage for about 300,000, couldn't you?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
And I mean, you know, without like,
you have to think of somewhere like the state of Montana, let's say. The population of Montana is not very big.
We could just build a huge mansion there.
I mean, I have no idea like what the cost of land or what the cost of, you know, houses or whatever are in Montana, but I just know that there is way more space than there are people, you know, in a state like that. So you could move over there and you could never see
theoretically
people.
Never see people.
Yeah.
You know.
You just move over, get a little plot of land, become self-sufficient, dig down and, maybe
find your own oil.
Find a well. I was going to say,
make like the Beverly Hillbillies.
Make a well, get your own water, and then grow your own fruit and vegetables, and you're fine,
Yeah, I mean,
and you never have to see people, and that appeals to a certain number of people, or a certain type of person, rather.
Yeah.
Anyway,
on to the next one. Yeah. And we're talking about, all this, like, land and everything is nature.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's one of the best reasons to move here, because there's so much of it. And, it's a huge continent. It's like, it's in the middle of a continent. Mm-hmm. And it takes up a good, the lower 48, as they like to call it.
Yeah.
And so you've got all this, you've got like, coastline, you've got forests, you've got mountains, and the climates are so different in places as well.
Canyons.
Canyons, you've got plains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is, it's spectacular,
I think we will give them a little plug here because they're one of our favorite travel YouTube channels.
Give them a plug.
Travel Beans.
Travel Beans, Alex and Emma.
Yeah. I don't know if any of you watch them, but we just saw recently they've bought a camper van over here. They're a British couple.
They bought a camper van here in Texas.
Well, that's a different story.
In the middle of summer, and it was a 1970s one, and
80s, I think. But,
80s.
Yeah, it burst into flames anyway, so they had to go.
It burst into flames on the side of the road, which is a completely normal thing to happen when you've just bought one. Yes. Thankfully, we haven't.
You guys should go check that out and show them some love. Tell them you came from Tina Butty Podcast if you leave them a comment on that video. It's just he really got some. I mean, it was a traumatic experience for them, but that was
around here, and I think it was around here in Austin because they were with other.
The fact that it was Texas had nothing to do with it, by the way.
Yeah, no, it did.
It was just hot outside.
So hot outside, it just burst into flames. Well, I mean, it was a very scary time for them, and they ended up coming back to the UK, and then everyone showed love and support, and they got insurance and stuff, and they're back now in the States doing.
They bought another camper van, but that was another.
This one is guaranteed not to explode.
The nature in this country, though, I think is what made them want to buy a camper van and travel over here.
Yeah, because, I mean, you cannot beat it, really. I mean, I know, Britain and Europe has some spectacular scenery and everything like that.
We have bears, we have bald eagles, we have coyotes.
You have bald eagles.
Aside from the scenery.
And you have eagles that wear toupees as well sometimes.
Aside from the scenery, we have just some of the best, animals that you can find too, just out. I see all of these TikTok videos of people filming bears in their backyards. I can't imagine.
We don't have bears down here in Central Texas.
No, not in Central Texas. Apparently they do in the Big Bend area though, over along the
they haven't come up here yet.
Along the Texas-Mexico border, yeah, they have bears over there. So
because it's people with hot tubs.
Yeah.
They have their hot tub on their deck and stuff like that, and then they look out and there's just a bear family just lounging in the hot tub with their kids, and it's like, hey, don't you mess that up now.
Yeah, literally just lounging. Yeah, the kids are over, digging up pumpkins and stuff. It's just
And I'm just thinking, it's just there's oh no, what are we going to do? Is a bear in a hot tub? Yeah. Oh no, what are we going to do? I'm just thinking, oh no, they're going to have to drain that and clean it out because the bear's probably got fleas and everything.
Oh god.
And ticks and, and they've just messed up that water. We'll have to build a hot tub for the bears, and they'll just put a little sign there that say 4 bears.
I've seen people put out, people who live in bear country, put out the little kid swimming pools filled with water and stuff, to try to
attract
keep them. Yeah, here, this is your pool,
Because sometimes they come and they got their little van. It's just it would be cute to watch them do it.
They just want to get in, they're hot as well. They're just
hot in a hot tub. No, they don't want to get in a hot tub because it was just
But anyway,
you just want to chill out,
We digress.
We digress about the bears. But yeah, no, I do wish we had more. I mean, right outside our door.
Yeah.
Practically, we've got snakes. We've got
rabbits,
deer.
raccoons, possums, armadillos.
This is all stuff that skunks.
Yeah.
You don't normally see in like the UK. I didn't grow up with them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, possible exception of deer and rabbits, you know.
Yeah. If you guys have been following us a really long time, you'll know that we had a giant rattlesnake in our front yard a couple of summers ago.
It was right by our garage door.
Summer, actually. Yeah.
I can't remember what happened. Did I spot it first or did you?
Oh, I don't remember.
Because we walked. No, I think it was you because you went, oh! Like,
I didn't
and I was
realize
like,
it was
what?
a
And then I saw it. It was
rattlesnake
like
at
right by the
first.
thing and it just kind of looked at us like, yeah, what do you want?
Yeah. Actually, I don't think we realized it was a rattlesnake till after we looked at the picture. We just kind of because it was giant, you guys. Yeah. We just took a picture and then we ran away. And then we were looking at the picture. We're like, oh my God, no, there's a rattle on the end of that, you know?
Yeah.
We just quickly snapped a picture.
And he moved on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, we've never seen him again.
Yeah, he didn't even leave a forwarding address.
No.
But I've seen huge snakes. I mean, there was one when we were driving back home one night, and there was one trying to go into the front yard.
It was just traveling down our street. I think it was just headed down to the creek.
Yeah, you know? Or it was just kind of looking for the creek.
Yeah.
Looking for directions. But yes, I mean, that's another thing, you know, that's the fourth point is travel. Traveling, you know, and you can understand them when you think like, oh, so many Americans, they don't have passports, they've never left their country, they don't know what it's like, and it's like, because they've got all this to go to. They've got a road trip.
Yeah.
You know, they've got planes to go, domestic flights, you know, to like, oh, let's go to California, let's go to Montana.
Yeah.
You know, let's go down to Texas, let's go to, you know,
and the scenery Florida, is so different. You know, state to state, and the people are different, and there's different attractions.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you've got, the
climate's so different. It's just like,
It's like, you know,
going state to state is
these could be countries, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, you know, you can understand why there's people who are just reluctant to leave the US because, you know, it's all under one umbrella at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's familiar, but, you know, it's a little bit different, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And that's being said, the last point I've got on my list here is the food. That's the reason that's the ultimate reason you should come here. Because, and I'm going to say this now, it's the amount of ice cream flavors you can get. That is why you should move to the US. That's the ultimate reason. Because, I mean, you go to the UK, you've only got chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry in there.
It's shockingly limited in the UK.
And I mean, when you think about it, it's probably because, you know, I mean, people like ice creams and they buy ice creams from the ice cream van when it's hot outside, but, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not hot enough outside to get ice cream.
It's not, no.
And when you're doing jelly and ice cream, which you think is weird.
It is weird.
Jello and ice cream, I should say. You know, not jam and ice cream, although that would be quite good too, I'm sure. You know, it was like a birthday party favorite, like cake, jelly, and ice cream.
Yeah.
Together, and you think that's absolutely horrendous.
I just think it's just weird. It's just like, why?
And it's just like vanilla ice cream and strawberry jelly, Jello, and that's it. It was very nice, you know.
But yeah, I mean, if you're an ice cream person like me, you want ice cream whether it's cold outside
an ice cream
or not.
Head. Because I remember when she first came and she was like, oh, and I didn't think about it because, you know, I didn't really buy ice cream all that much before I met you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I didn't really buy it so much, you know, so I was just kind of like, oh, you know, ice cream, you know, I was more like a candy or chip head.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, so she's like, oh, let's go get some ice cream. Let me go get some ice cream. And I think you bought some, the Walls vanilla flavor. Yeah. And, you know, you just ate some of that, and you were just like, oh, I wish there was more flavors like Rocky Road or whatever, you know.
Cornish vanilla or
Cornish
something
vanilla,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was good, but yeah, there's just not... there's just too few ice cream flavors. But anyway, aside from the ice cream, I guess we do have a pretty big variety of types of food.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like I always say, oh, I can't get sausage rolls, or I can't get chips. Nando's or proper chips, you know, or whatever like that. But really, that's a small price to pay when you think about how much food. I mean, down here in Texas, obviously, it's like Mexican food is the thing, you know. Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
And that's incredible. You know, you can get that. I mean, I wasn't really a big fan of it before I came here because I never didn't grow up with it. So.
But now he's making chicken enchiladas and Spanish rice like no one's business.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, she's very impressed with my cooking skills on that. You know, because I'm making it quite good.
Yes. It's like my grandma.
Grandma approved, apparently. But it's like, you know, I wasn't really I didn't really grow up with that in the house. I mean, I was very basic as a kid eating, you know. I mean, I'm still quite basic now.
Chicken nuggets. You'd be happy with chicken nuggets,
chicken nuggies, French fries,
pizza.
And pizza. Yeah, that's it. You know, chicken nuggies.
Never tried to take Dominic to somewhere exotic unless they have, like, he needs, like, a children's menu options.
I mean, you're making me sound like one of those basic people now. But honestly,
a chicken sandwich. Do they have a chicken sandwich on the menu?
You can't go wrong with it, can you? You can't go wrong with it. Although I did introduce you to Indian food, so
yeah.
Before me, you didn't know Indian food was good. You thought it was just, oh, Indian food's stinky and makes you go to the bathroom. Oh. It's like, well, all food makes you go to the bathroom, and it's stinky, but it stinks great.
I don't know why it
smells absolutely delicious.
That stereotype, yeah, it's probably my next favorite after Mexican food, actually.
Oh, Indian food, it's like
that. Oh god, and then Italian food though.
Italian food. Oh well, Italian food. Yeah, I can get on board with that.
Let me tell you guys. America does. I don't know what the reason for this is, considering Britain's proximity to Italy, but America does Italian food way better than Britain. I really do not understand that. We went to, I can't remember what restaurant it was in Britain that you took me to, and it was like an Italian in quotation
Are you
marks.
talking about Frankie and Benny's?
I think so.
Yeah, no.
It was just like...
Frankie and Benny's is more like a quasi kind of like Italian diner experience, American style, you know. It's kind of like it doesn't know what it's going to be. I don't even know if it's still in business, actually. Let us know.
But anyway, yeah. All right, well, I think that was an interesting list.
It wasn't good.
I don't know if
You're going to talk about the waiter experience at Frankie and Benny's, because that's the one where you always talk about.
I was off of that topic, but I can't remember what waiter you're talking about.
Because there wasn't any. There wasn't one.
There's never any waiters anywhere in Britain.
They come and they say, okay, here's your food, and you never see them again.
Number 6 reason to move to America. There's actually waiters in the restaurants.
Yes. No, that actually, okay, honorary mention for that, because we're running out of time here. Yeah, the service here, you know, because, I mean, they're working for tips and they don't really do that in the UK. And now it's starting to kind of like, I don't know if they've started to like mandate that all restaurants should pay their wait staff a fair wage. So that's going to be interesting, you know, when you go out, you go, excuse me, my tea. I was like, nah, I'm not going to serve you because I'm getting paid quite well now and I don't need your money, sir.
Oh, gosh. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, and it's terrible. I mean, obviously, they need to be paid a living wage because they just do. Everyone does. But at the same time, the service in Britain is terrible. I mean, it's really...
We're gonna go back there soon, and we're gonna do a comparison to how it was before, and we're gonna see. It's really
terrible. But you know what? I think that
maybe we'll get a bubbly guy who's all like, "Oh, can I refill your drink? Oh, hello, madam."
Wouldn't you like? Even if you were being paid like a living wage, like an amount that you could live off of, you could pay your bills and all of that. If you were still receiving tips, people could still
You're gonna do your Richard Gere. I'm prepared to spend obscene amounts of this if you give us good service.
No, but I mean, if people are allowed to leave tips still if they choose, which in my opinion is
they are.
Is the only time a tip should ever be left is if the service is good and if you have the tip to leave. You know what I mean?
I think in some restaurants add it in if you've got a bigger party and stuff.
Wait staff would still serve. They would still like try to work for that extra money because they're already there.
I mean, the tips are there because I mean some restaurants over here, as I understand it. Some of them, you know, they work on a like, okay, you're table 6 tonight, and table 6 was like a party of like 3, and they liked you, so they've left a $50 tip or a $100 tip. That's all yours.
Oh.
And then there's some who are like, we're going to put it in the tip jar and share it out equally because we're a communist freaking restaurant.
Oh, I'd be pissed if I worked in a restaurant.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm
like
sure
that.
I'm sure probably a lot of them do that because it's like, yeah, that way we haven't got Dave bitching in the back that, oh, that was my table and you swooped in, you know?
Yeah. But I don't know. I think there's room for waitstaff to be paid a living wage, but also for people to leave tips still if the service is good and they feel like leaving a tip and they have the money to leave a tip, you know. And I think service would then continue to be good because people want that extra money. They're already at work. Why wouldn't they want to get, you know, make a tip if they could, you know? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Yeah, because tipping doesn't exist in Britain, and neither do waiters.
Your food just appears, you know, you're talking and you look around and then it's just there and you're like, who did that?
And you never see them again.
No, I mean, you get them and they're kind of surly and stuff like that. But no, I mean, a lot of them are quite nice, you know, like in like places like the Brewers Fair and the Hungry Horse and all that. You know, they're pretty average. They're good,
they're
you know.
Fine. I mean,
I was a waiter in a pub.
I don't remember them being like rude or anything. I have seen that online that they're rude and everything. I just don't remember them being there. Like, you want a refill on your drink and where are they? You want to pay your bill and where are they?
You want a refill on your drink, but you have to pay for it.
You're waiting half an hour after you're done eating because they haven't brought you the bill.
The worst,
you know?
the worst thing though is you don't like is some of these places are okay. You order your food and you pay there, and then you go and sit down and wait for it. You don't like that. I remember you saying, "Oh no, I can't do that," and we did that at the pub. That almost every pub, you have to do that. You order and you pay first, and then you sit down. You know.
Yeah. I don't really remember that. I mean, you do that at some places over here. Like,
yeah, I know, but it's more
Walk.
it's more common because that's like a fast casual kind of thing. With pubs and stuff, you know, you're going to sit down, you're going to be in like a pubby environment.
Why didn't I like that?
I think you were kind of like, oh, what if it's not good, or what if it's?
I mean, I've still got to pay for it.
Yeah, you still
if it's not good.
I mean, you know,
what if it's not good and I don't want to pay for that food?
If you want to dine and ditch, that's the thing, you know. But it's
like a gas station. Like, you must pay before you start pumping.
I don't know.
Gas.
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, I remember you saying you didn't like it for some reason. You were a bit like, ooh, you know.
I don't know.
Or maybe it was your mother. I don't know. Someone said it. I remember someone saying, "Oh, I don't think I like that way of doing things."
Oh yeah.
You know, paying before you receive your food because you know you might never get it. What if you're sitting there?
Yeah.
Forever, and he was like, "Oh, where's my food?" He was like, "What food?"
Yeah.
You just walked in here. And you've just been sitting there like an idiot for the past hour and a half. We didn't get any order.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
We're way over time. Let us know if this list, if you didn't live in America, would the things on this list convince you to live in America? Because I'm not sure that it would convince
These are reasons to move to the USA so you can have these experiences. Don't do the little thinking emoji face.
I'm just like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the career thing and also, like, the travel. I mean, I'm traveling. I live in the United States, but I'm only traveling around the United States. I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe not. Let us know what you think.
Let us know. Yeah. And don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We are there at TEABUTTY.
That's it. You took my...
Yeah, I stole your thing. I'm going to get the tip for that now.
We're
not sharing it out equally. I'm getting the tip. I'm getting that $100.
Thank you guys so much, as always, for tuning in. We appreciate your support. And we'll talk to you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.